here we go for round 2. We're going to look at what our strategies are for writing these sequence rules. The whole point of getting this formula is it gives us a really special advantage in that I can find any term I want. So identifying the patterns usually aren't too hard, you know, +2, +2, +2. But what if I came up to you and said, I want the 500th term? You don't necessarily want to sit there and add 2 500 times. So getting the formulas will help us find those values easier. So starting off with arithmetic sequences, our basic formula is going to be the following. A sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus parentheses n minus 1 times d. I know this looks like a lot notation wise, but bear with me, the pieces are pretty straightforward. First up, a sub 1, like we addressed in the previous video, is just our first term of our sequence, so nothing special there. And d is a special spot for the common difference or the change. So whatever we identify as adding or subtracting again and again, that's going to be our d value. So for example, if I come down here to this sequence right here, 2, 7, 12, 17, okay? First up, we can recognize that our first term is a 2. So that is going to end up being a sub 1. And then as we're looking at this, to get from one value to the next, I am adding 5. And we see that that pattern holds, add 5, add 5. So putting that all together and plugging those values in for a sub 1 and for d, that gives us the following. So I'll just write this explicitly. A sub 1, my first term is 2. My common difference, or d, is going to be a 5. So if I put those together, I get this as my formula. A sub n is equal to a sub 1, 2, plus n minus 1 times d, which is 5. And this right here would be my formula. Okay? Now notation wise, sequences are just in the habit of using n's instead of x's, no big deal there. And this a sub n, think of it like y in a normal line equation. It's just another way of saying identifying the name of the equation. Okay? Let's take a look at another one. I've got this pattern right here, negative 30, negative 26, negative 22, negative 18. First term's definitely on the easier side. You just find whatever's first in that list. So obviously a sub 1 is going to be equal to a negative 30. Now finding d, or my common difference, might be a little bit more challenging. I got to be careful here because as I'm going from left to right, my number changes from 30 to 26, but I'm negative. So if I were to go from negative 30 to a negative 26, I'm actually adding a positive number. Even though the numeral is getting smaller, I'm adding a positive value. So be careful, this really is going to be a +4, not a -4. And again, we see that pattern holds. 26 plus 4, sorry, negative 26 plus 4 is a negative 22. Negative 22 plus 4 is a negative 18. So that means d, or my common difference, is going to be 4. So I can come over here and write my formula. A sub n equals my first term, negative 30, plus n minus 1 times my common difference of 4. Now, should your common difference subtract, then this number right here would have a negative sign with it. Okay? I also do want to point out that there are more than one way of writing this formula. This is one approach. So if what you've seen in class looks a little bit different, my guess is it's probably equivalent, and the pieces are just rearranged a little bit.